Let's get more now on that report, which has warned that the lives of hundreds of thousands of teenagers are being damaged by their parents' drinking problems. The Children's Society says the pressure on teenagers who live with alcoholic parents can lead to mental health issues and is calling on the government to offer more support. Well, joining me now from Bournemouth is Huey. Now, she's a counsellor and life coach for people who grow up in families with addiction to alcohol and other problems. Thank you so much for joining us on Sky News this morning. And first of all, this report revealing 700,000 children affected by parents with a dependency on alcohol. Were you surprised by those figures?
Good morning. No, to be honest, in my opinion and the research that I'm aware of, that number's pretty low. I know I also volunteer for NACOA, which is a charity that helps children of alcoholics, and figures that I've been provided are more like 3 million.
Wow, 3 million. How have you come to that conclusion?
I think that the research that's been done, I think it came from Alcohol Concern. The implications of somebody's drinking, parents drinking on their children is massive. Those stats are for the UK, and I think that the issue we have is that people still don't realise how bad it is.
So talk us through how bad it can be. And one of the people that we spoke to, who he himself had to deal with his father being an alcoholic when he was a child, he said that he became an alcoholic in adult life. So it does increase the chances of the children affected by this, they themselves having that dependency on alcohol and also other issues. Could you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, sure. My personal experience, I grew up in a home with, my father was a drinker. Pretty much from an early age, that's all I kind of knew. And my life living in that environment was very up and down, very unpredictable. There's certain characteristics that a child will develop because of that environment that they're in. The alcoholic has their own dependencies, obviously, on the alcohol, but what happens is that the family members then become dependent and focused on the alcoholic. So in a sense, they could be what's known as para-alcoholics. So they will have very similar things, so that the alcoholic will be feeling a lot of guilt, and then the family members also feel guilt, but for different reasons. The alcoholic will feel guilt about the drinking, and the family members will feel guilty that maybe they're not helping enough, maybe they're making changes that can stop the person from drinking. Obviously, children have very little control over that. My personal experience, I felt that I was completely out of control. I wasn't able to make any changes. I had no voice. Certainly, you didn't talk about anything that went on in the family home, and that's very common. Even you wouldn't talk about it in the home, as well as you wouldn't talk about it to anyone outside of the home, so people didn't know about it. So people at school, my school friends, had no idea, and I'm still in touch with those school friends, some of them, and they, when I discuss it now, they said, God, we have no idea that that's what you were going through. My teachers had no idea. I experienced a lot of loneliness because I was forever hoping that I'd get this relationship with my father that was never going to come. I remember, standing in the kitchen, waiting for him to come home from work, anticipating, that he'll be really pleased to see me. And it just never kind of lived up to my expectation, and you never knew what mood he was going to be in. And again, this is very common in an alcoholic home. You're treading on eggshells. It's a very common saying. You don't know what mood they're going to be in, and everything is very dependent on that. And everybody in the home kind of sometimes can live in fear. Everyone's experience is very different. Mine was, I had both mental and physical abuse. As I say, I felt very lonely. I felt that I was very disconnected from my father, and my mum was obviously there, but she was equally very scared of him.
I mean, hearing your story and the idea that other children, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions, as you said, could be going through very similar things. What can be done about this? What should the government be doing? What can schools, teachers be doing to support any child out there who's living with parents who are alcoholics?
So I know that, as I mentioned, I know they've been working with an all-parliamentary group to raise it and created a manifesto, and it did get as far as the Prime Minister, but I'm not sure what's happening with that now. It kind of seems to have lost its momentum. But certainly I think that teachers really do need educating. I have been into my local university here and been educating social workers so that when they go into a family home, they are much more prepared and much more educated about what's going on, because the social workers I've spoken to have said, well, we go in and it all looks neat and tidy and everything, and it's like, yeah, but that's not how it is. The evenings are the worst, and I think it's important for them to understand that it could be the quiet children. The teachers need to be looking out for that kind of thing and being better educated about how to spot these signs. And anybody really that's working with children could really do with some specialist support, which is kind of what I've been trying to do. And I guess that's kind of the reason why I wrote my own book, so that I could, it was my way of being able to get out there and to be able to help people to relate and to know that they're not alone, which is one of the key things. Because people don't talk about it, they don't know other people are in the same situation.
Well, Joanne, hopefully you talking to Sky News today will get more people talking about it, and hopefully I'm dealing with this issue. I'm Joanne Huey, life coach and a counsellor for people with addiction problems. Really good talking to you. Thanks for sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.